All right, so we're going to talk about core stability. So first and foremost, we got to make sure we're tuned in, checked in with our hips. So we're going to start on the ground, make sure that our back lies flat, low back lies flat on the ground. That way our hips and our deep core are what's really doing the work. So find ourselves on the floor to start. Take your time. I normally like to start with about 3 rounds of breath work. So just going through, feeling my lungs expand, and then contracting, making sure that I'm in touch and in tune with my deep core. So find our back of our head on the ground, which means some of us might have to tuck our chin, especially if we have a forward head posture. So I'm thinking tuck the chin here. Find my shoulder blades to start. Anchor the back ribs on the ground, and then make sure that my lower back is sitting comfortably, both points on the pelvis touching the ground out of my low back. Okay, from there we get into some breath work. Try to let everything relax. All right, inhale, fully expand the rib cage. Exhale, we're trying to find that deep core. You're far more capable of exhaling more than you think, so it might get a little uncomfortable at points, but we want to keep challenging, feeling rib cage kind of coming in together in the core musculature. Try to find that space where you're really challenging to exhale. That's the base, that's the foundation for everything that we're about to do. I don't want to underestimate the importance of breathing here and paying attention to your breath. All right, so once I feel good with that, I'm going to make sure that my hips and my ribs are stacked up. So I take my middle finger and my thumb, I'll find the edges of my hips and then the edges of my ribs, make sure that they're stacked up. You can always look too, make sure everything's in line, straight ahead. From there, we're going to make sure lower back is pressed into the ground. So for some of us that are familiar, think about kind of tucking down or crushing lower back to the ground just at the start to have reference. We're going to bring one leg up at a time, right? So I'm going to find about 90 degrees, okay? This is going to be our foundation. We're going to start and just feel this here. So again, we're going to focus on our breath work. Right, so obviously I'm going to talk through this, but ideally we're just calm, easy, focused on the breath. What our attempt is something has to be holding our hips up here, right? So what we want to feel is the hip, the deep hip, and our core helping control keeping our legs here. So after about 30-45 seconds to start, over time you can get longer and longer. These are long duration muscles. We want access to them over a long period of time from a postural standpoint, but then also from a dynamic standpoint, when we're running and sprinting, we need to make sure that these are working with us. This is a huge inefficiency that I see in a lot of young athletes, where a lot of rounding through the core will occur when we don't have this stability. So I'm just talking to you guys, but push yourself. As long as that low back stays in touch, we should be primarily using core. If you're feeling low back here, it's probably due to rounding through. So now that we have this is our foundation. We're trying to create stability here under control. From there, level 2, we are just going to crunch up. So you can curl or you can press through your elbows. We're going to start with a curl here, right? And just round, come up to where you feel that little shake happening, right? We're going to hang out there. Okay, everything that we're going to do is approximately 30 seconds here. Ideally, we're building to a 45 second, right? I'm light, my arms don't even need to be on the ground. I'm crunching, feeling through. Don't let these drift forward or come up too much. We want the challenge of holding at about 90 for now. We are going to adjust the hip angles, right? So once we get through our 30 seconds or so, we can settle everything back down. If you need to, if you find yourself compromising, if you need to take a break, just settle the feet down. During my break, I always try to just breathe and feel through that deep core and deep hip musculature. So Nothing wrong with just like a little manual massage, trying to feel through the area. Right, again, we're breathing, making sure that we're staying under control. From there, go back up. When you find your hips and your ribs, low back presses, we're up. From there now, I'm thinking about taking my elbows. I'm going to push into the ground and I'm going to pop up. All right, so now I should be getting more of a straight back. Right, so we want core stability with the spine rounded, and then core stability with the spine and core a little more up. Right, so again, I'm just working till I find a shake. Right, and then I'm going to hold there. If you find that your hips are compromising, this is a good opportunity to kind of check in and work through. All right, just hold them here and stabilize. 4, 3, and 1. Good. So again, if you need to, you can settle them down. All right, we got a couple more variations coming. Take a breath, ease through. All right, massage through again. You should be getting a pretty good feel through the deep core, not necessarily your six-pack on that one, but the deep musculature, the trunk, that's so important for athletes, right? Hip flexors run, some of our hip flexors run all the way from our spine through the front, through our hips. So we want to make sure that we're connecting the trunk, right? It's not just the muscles up top, it's not just the muscles in your hips, it's what your trunk does. So rib cage to hip connection, so important here. All right, so now we're popping up, lower back finds the ground again. Okay, now we're gonna round. Okay, from there, I'm taking both legs, holding one at 90 degrees, and I'm straightening up the other. Okay, nice and slow, working through. We're gonna do 6 reps here, but you can always progress to more if you're holding stability and you're getting good work out of core and whatever we're focused on. You can always up the reps. All right. So once I have a good feel for this leg going straight, from there, I'm going to keep my curl, slowly letting one leg down, the leg that we've been straightening, and pulling back up. Now the challenge here, this right leg, this lead leg, is holding my pelvis steady. So I want to make sure that I'm maintaining my points of contact on the ground as I'm slowly working down and back up. 4, we got 2 more. All right, 5 and 6. Last thing I'll say here is if your pelvis is tilting or stuck in a tilt or falling each rep, then you might need to regress that a little bit and not move so much, smaller reps. If you're feeling any low back discomfort, that means again we're probably popping up, losing contact with the ground. So we want to make sure that we're taking our time and gradually progressing. It's not about going and trying to touch the ground at the start. You can have I'll show you here, you can have like a slight bend in this leg as you're going, right? You don't have to be fully straightened out, but the straighter you are here, the bigger the challenge it's going to be for the hips. All right, so this rep, we'll push up for the whole rep. All right, I'm just straightening out that leg. All right, now we're working the opposite leg. Straighten out and back down. All right, so challenge our stability, working straight down and then back up. 1, 2, again, we're gonna go 6 here. You can challenge and do more or go slower. The longer you go, the slower you go, the harder it's gonna be. 5 and 6. Okay, so we've built a lot of the foundation that we need for right now for really this is kind of like first level of core stability, right? Next, the last thing that we're going to add out of this progression is just a little side out of the hips. So we're going to get the hips moving dynamically in a rotated position. So we're going to find internal rotation, which should help us find the outsides of our hips. So it's going to be the same concept in terms of how we prep, where we're setting up, we're just going to rotate the hips before we get going and then just drive through. So right here, legs come up to 90, low back. We're gonna round up. Now I'm going to rotate both hips. So both hips go in, which should bring my knees closer together. My feet, my heels get further away. Toes get towards each other or pointed towards each other. And now we're just doing little bicycles. I'm teaching my hips to drive up through internal rotation, which again should help us find that lateral part, that outside part of the hips. A lot of athletes are missing this. We want to make sure that our hips can comfortably glide through in internal rotation while we're getting core engagement. So this is so pivotal for running. We want to make sure that we're spending a lot of time here. This is also a really great way to work on my technique for my running stride without putting that strain and stress of an actual run on there. So we'll settle it back down. We'll show you guys what it looks like when we push through the elbows and not just round through the spine. Again, both are important. Both have a role in acceleration, deceleration, top speed, change of direction, right? We need to be fluid and agile, but stable in all of these positions. And really, this is the whole point of this. This is why we kind of maintain a neutral torso for these, to make sure that the rest of our body, hips, upper body, legs can all get acclimated around that position where it's kind of a braced or strong trunk. Shouldn't say necessarily braced, but strong, right? So now I'm going to push up. Hips are going to rotate in, right? We got one more rep, right? If you get comfortable with this and it feels good, you can start extending a little bit further in terms of dropping that leg a little bit further, a little bit further. And again, whole point here, we want to maintain some form of pelvis stability. We shouldn't be dipping every rep. We want to stay up, stay in control. All right, rotate the hips. You can find different, you can kind of work maybe almost towards neutral again, then back into internal, right? Not everything has to be one set way, but this is just a really good opportunity to work through that internally rotated hip, get that core challenge. So that should be a ton of stability for that deep core, that trunk. If you're feeling good, again, add reps, add time, or run through a second time, right? I think such a major factor of that is breathing, making sure that you're listening to your body and feeling it. It's not about just getting through and feeling a burn. It's about, can I stabilize and feel my deep core, not just the top 6 muscles or 8 muscles, but the muscles that are deep within that connect our trunk to our hips that really provide that engine for the athlete.